everybody. Happy Saturday and welcome to the FX Kid. I am the FX Kid, Adam K. And I just wanted to update everybody. Video has gotten finished and submitted to the people that I was that hired me, and managed to maintain all open source. So I felt good about that. What I want to do today is just show off something a little bit fun, and that is some autographs. So I'm going to show you something here. Some of you might be familiar with this person here, all right? And I don't know what his first name is. I just know it's Mr. Wareheim. And this is from Absolutely Productions. So Tim and Eric own this company, and this is their the way they end all of the shows that they produce. Absolutely. So it's it's quick and it's silly and it's fun, and it originally came from the Tim and Eric Video Vault. This is a videotape that I believe Eric Wareheim shot of his dad in the 90s when they were on vacation. So.
Sum up this vacation in 2 words. Absolutely.
So that credit, of course, goes to Tim and Eric. I'm not claiming any legal stuff on that. I don't think I'm going to have any problems with that, however, because what I did was my daughter loves watching some of this stuff with me, and admittedly I'm watching reruns because some of their stuff is not really all that appropriate. So there's some episodes she's not watching. But one of the shows that they made that I am a huge fan of is Comedy Bang Bang. And if you haven't seen it, it's over now, but if you can find it anywhere, I highly recommend watching it. It stars Scott Aukerman. It had Reggie Watts on it. Kid Cudi was on it for a long time. Haley Joel Osment, Weird Al, all sorts of people were involved with this show. And at the end of every episode, you would see this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So my daughter would wait for that scene to come up and go, absolutely, absolutely. So she turned 5 the other day, and just for fun, we said, what the heck? Let's make a little video and like a little parody of it. So here's her parody.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, it's a little kid, so it's annoying. It's my little kid, so I think it's adorable. So I'm going to play it again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Absolutely.
And just to show my workflow, I mean, it's nothing too fancy. It's all in Blender, but there's our screen. And what I did was I just manually created the screen there, did a quick mask to remove everything around there. I shrunk down the video that I shot of her just a little bit so it fit in nicely. And then I threw a couple of interlacing effects in there, and I had to actually create some of those. So that might be a whole tutorial, just making things look like they're interlaced. Like in old VHS tapes. And the thing is, if you pull it out far enough and you make it look bad enough, when you try to use a de-interlace filter on there, it really adds the effect, makes it look really cool. So what I would suggest here, Oh yeah, and I also put the Abso and the Lutely on 2 separate layers, timed their delivery, and actually if like my son recorded an Absolutely as well, and I was able to retime it to meet his needs because he said it obviously at different timings. So anyway, bottom line was I sent that off to Absolutely Productions, and they responded back very, very quickly with a comment, and it was along the lines of, that's adorable, Thelma looking good, and then they said thank you for raising your kid right on Absolutely Productions, and they asked for our mailing address. So I gave them the mailing address, and about a week later, we got this little thing in the mail. There's the kid family. All right. And it was sent from Santa Clarita, California, which is a little far from Belleville, Ontario, Canada. And they sent us this nice little autographed photo, Tim and Eric, and I think that's hilarious. So, you know what? I just realized we're not in full screen here, so let's fade that over. There's Tim and Eric. So that's my daughter's very first autograph in her collection. So thank you very much, Tim and Eric. And I just thought I would show off some of mine. Now, this is not all that I have. I used to collect for years, and then I stopped because I felt that autograph collecting was maybe a tad creepy. But there are people you meet and you have opportunities to have a conversation, or if you let somebody know that, hey, in conversation, we had a great conversation. Just want to let you know, I admire your work. And it's not uncommon for a celebrity to say, oh, well, I really appreciate that. And, here's something to remember me by. And they will give you an autograph. Now, some folks are actively selling autographs, and there's a question as to whether or not it's ethical or not. But I'd say if people are willing to pay for it and it can help supplement their income a little bit, it might be worth it. I know that as much as I love Star Trek, some of those guys they make more money off of the convention circuit than they did the show. So anyway, here's some of my favorites here, and I have a lot more at home. There's just some I didn't want to bring into the workshop. So this is Russ Trainer, and Russ was a production assistant on The Night of the Living Dead, the original, and he's also best known as Johnny, and he was actually the main character's brother, and he's the first guy to die. I also ended up meeting the guy who played him in the remake, Bill Moseley, many, many times, and he's a decent guy. I don't have his autograph with me today. This is a nice one here, and this is Mr. Martin Landau. And Martin Landau is one of my favorites. I'm a big Mission Impossible fan, so I like him there. And Ed Wood, of course, is great. I met him a few times, and one of the great things we discussed was his work in a movie called Crimes and Misdemeanors. So there's the garbage truck out there. So if you haven't seen Crimes and Misdemeanors, it's a great Woody Allen movie, and he is phenomenal in Crimes and Misdemeanors. So I highly recommend you see that one there. As much as I love zombie movies, specifically the Night of the Living Dead movies, this is one I got here. This is Ken Foree, and I met him for a while, and he was a very, very polite, and we had some great conversation. I didn't get this one because of Dawn of the Dead. I actually got it because I'm a huge fan of a Rob Zombie movie called The Devil's Rejects, and he was in The Devil's Rejects, and he played Captain Spaulding's brother, and he some other stuff. He was in Halloween as well. A lot of Rob Zombie stuff. Anyway, I think he was, like, during the 80s, he'd be on a lot of TV shows. Like, I think he might have been on the A-Team for an episode. Maybe I don't think he was a villain of the week, but I think he was a good guy, actually. So I like Ken Foree. This is sort of one that's pretty easy to get your hands on, and I had a nice conversation with Mr. George Takei, and that was really cool. He actually gave me 2 pictures, and because I made a comment that I loved this promo one from Heroes because he looks so tough in it, and he was flattered by that, and he signed that for me. And we had a little chat about his work on the Howard Stern show. This was at a point in time when Robin Quivers had cancer, and we hadn't heard from her in a while. And I candidly asked, "Is she okay?" And he said, "Oh, she's doing wonderful." I don't do a good George Takei impression. I'm George Takei. Ha 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 ha. That's the best I can do. Anyway, he also gave me another one for my sister, and it was as Sulu, and so I don't have that one in my possession anymore, obviously. Next up, this is Sandhil Radamat Murray from, he played Suresh on Heroes. But I remember him best as playing Kelly's boyfriend on The Office. And so we had great conversations about that. Let's see here. One of my favorites, Mr. Ernest Borgnine, who is no longer with us. He signed that, I want to say that was about 10 years ago. And one of the fun things about him was it was at this charity thing. And he really, like, at his age, he really pounded back those burgers. Like, he was quite the eater, and he was just cracking jokes with everybody. And like, he liked everything from a fart joke to, blue humor. And I thought it was, I had a great time chatting with him, and it was really cool. For those young people who are not aware of what Ernest Borgnine did, he's also Mermaid Man in SpongeBob SquarePants. This is Heather Langenkamp, and she is probably best known for playing Nancy in A Nightmare on Elm Street. She's basically the first person to kill off Freddy Krueger as a ghost, or as a demon, or whatever he is. Anyway, she's very polite, very talkative, very, very lovely lady. This is Mr. Bill Forsyth. I've seen him in a lot of stuff since the 80s, but and I'm sure he's done stuff beforehand there. But one of the motivations behind that is the Devil's Rejects. He was the bad guy in the Devil's Rejects, and in a movie full of bad guys, you really have to be the ultimate bad guy. So he did a great job in that one here. There. This one here is Mr. George Burns. Now, I got this one in 1995, and I have a sneaking suspicion that it might be fake. And that's just because I'd never met George Burns. This was a gift from my brother, and I have a feeling that it's a forgery, but it's more the sentiment. My brother gave it to me a long time ago, so I included it in there. But I'm very clear with other people. I don't care if I saw a certificate of authenticity, which to me means nothing. If it turns out to be a fake, so be it. It's the thought that counts. Let's see who else we got here. Oh, there's Tim and Eric there. That's my daughters. Look at this one here. Dun, dun, dun. This is one of my favorites. Mr. Dean Stockwell. And Mr. Dean Stockwell has been in everything since the 1940s. You just look up his resume. He was a child actor, young adult actor. Now he's an older guy. Probably people would best know him from, like, nowadays from Battlestar Galactica or Quantum Leap, or he'll guest star in anything that Scott Bakula stars in. So there's Mr. Dean Stockwell. So that's it from that album there, and I'm just going to sum up a couple of very quick things. Here's an album from Bill Moseley, and that's it. One of his bands called Spider Mountain, and he was. Let's take a look here. Yep, did a nice pressing there, and he signed it for me there. This kind of like has a Danny Elfman feel to it, and I enjoyed it. And what autograph collection is complete without Mr. Lloyd Kaufman from Troma? And one of the great things about Lloyd is Lloyd will sign absolutely everything. I think I even have a box of giant Pocky at home that he just started scribbling his name on. Lloyd is one of the most approachable people you can think of, and like to the point where he even publicly gives out his personal email. And he responds very quickly. And just general filmmaking questions. So he's a very approachable guy. I've spoken with him, I don't know, to the point where it's not even worth mentioning anymore. Someone's like, Lloyd Kaufman? I'm like, yeah, whatever, I mean, not diminishing him, but he's very easily reachable and very, very nice, and very, very reference driven. So you have a question for him, like about any sort of film technique or anything like that, he can go, there's a document for that. Most of the time it's one of his books, but he's very good with that kind of stuff. So anyway, that's all I have on me right now. I'm sure I can accumulate more from my personal collection. I have a very, very nice one of David Cronenberg, but it was one I paid for, and that was mainly because there was this meet and greet thing in Toronto that we were going to, and everybody who went got a picture with him. But that's a story for another day. In fact, I could do a whole vlog on that. That's it for today, and tomorrow I'm going to show off a vintage camera. It'll be a short one. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.